Rule Bill. Dr. Luke Evans.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I beg to move that leave be given to bring in a bill to require advertisers, broadcasters and publishers to display a logo in a case where an image of human body or body part has been digitally altered in its proportions and for connected purposes. Madam Deputy Speaker, to set the tone for this speech, I'd like to describe an advert put out about a year ago by Dove called Reverse Selfie. It starts with a young girl looking at her phone. On that phone, there's a picture of her. She may be in her late teens, early 20s. It starts to scroll backwards. She sees the comments underneath the photo suddenly disappearing, with all the likes slowly drifting away. Then the comments, "You look amazing," disappearing. Suddenly the filter changes and so does her hair colour. The size of her face, including her nose, changes. Blemishes on her skin suddenly reappear. The process goes further. She puts the phone down, lies backwards, and there behind her is a picture of her family that reappears on the wall. She's scrubbed it off, and a picture of her favourite team band. Furthermore, the image shows makeup, including lipstick, coming off. And finally, what's left in front of us is a girl no older than 13 or 14. The advert finishes with a line that's pertinent. The pressure of social media is hurting our girls' self-esteem. This is an all too common story happening up and down the UK to our daughters, our sons, our granddaughters and our grandsons. Now, the advert's only a minute long, but encapsulates perfectly the problem facing our media-hungry society. Don't believe me? 1 in 5 adults feel shame about their body. In teenagers, it's 1 in 3. The Women and Equalities Committee inquiry into body image found concerns about the way we look start younger, last longer, and affect more people than ever before, with 61% of adults and 66% of children feeling negative or very negative about their body image. NHS England data released over the summer showed there was 2,682 admissions of children under the age of 17 with a primary diagnosis of eating disorders between April 2020 and March 2021. That's an increase of 34% on the previous year. This issue is here, stark, and getting worse. And I've seen it in my own practice as a GP before being in this house. And I fear the numbers will only increase from the 1.25 million people who've suffered with eating disorders and the 1 million people using steroids in the UK, many in the pursuit of improving an image that's simply unattainable no matter what you do. The problem is palpable, prolific, and pervasive. Now, the growth of influencers, collaborations, and sponsored posts, particularly on social media, has added to the ever-growing list of tools advertisers have at their disposal, often featuring images that can be secretly edited. This, combined with the amount of time we spend endlessly scrolling through social media, has created a perfect storm for physical and mental health. Constantly seeing altered images warps our sense of reality and drives an aspiration that can never ever be achieved. Even the social media companies know this, as the Facebook leaks have shown. We're setting up a generation to fail, and it's hurting us all. It comes as no surprise that Women and Equalities Commission has reported on body image. The Advertising Standards Authority has opened an inquiry and a call for evidence on the issue, and the Health and Social Care Committee will, in the coming weeks, open their inquiry into body image. The UK is waking up to the issue, as have other countries across the world, with legislation in place across Israel, France, and currently being brought forward in Norway. Now, body image is an issue that's multifaceted, covers multiple government departments with no silver bullet. We all understand it requires a layered response from the likes of education to that of the online harms bill and the assessment of risk. And these are all rightfully being looked at. My bill is a simple stepping stone, a brick in the foundation to help tackle the problem. I'm proposing a new law in Parliament which calls for commercial images featuring digitally altered bodies to be labelled with a logo where the body proportions are artificially doctored. To put it simply, if someone's being paid to post a picture on social media, which they've edited, or advertisers, broadcasters or publishers are making money from an edited photograph, they should be honest and upfront about it. So this isn't about stopping you touching up your wedding photos or removing the red eye on a post. It's targeted at those with significant, far-reaching influence and those with commercial intent. Now, this area is already regulated by the Advertising Standards Authority, the ASA, and there are some similar precedents already in place. We have the P for product placement on TV. We have disclaimers on political adverts, and not actual video game footage notice on adverts for video games. And in more recent times, the ASA have already done a significant amount of legwork on what is commercial and who the rules apply to, and the use of #ad on posts. And I quote, the ASA advises that we consider that in most cases the use of the #ad or similar is the clearest way of communicating the commercial nature of advertising content through using a platform's own disclosure tools such as Instagram's paid partner tool can also help to distinguish advertising from other content. If an influencer fails to sufficiently disclose that a post is in fact marketing, they not only are breaking the CAP code, they and the brands they're working with may well be breaking the law. My proposal is simply a translation of current practice into the digital world of body image. Now, of course, some detractors will wave their finger. This is the nanny state in action. If anything, it's the opposite. As for those who put that position forward, know full well a perfect market needs perfect information, and this bill is a step forward to it. The bill doesn't ban changes. Simply empowers the individual to know what they perceive is not reality, thus giving the individual information and, importantly, choice. However, the bill would provide the backup for the Secretary of State should the industry not take action itself. Now, others argue the evidence isn't clear, logos and labels don't work, and even in some cases, labelling can worsen outcomes. I would simply argue the evidence is relatively scant and thin, as most would concede, and that the precautionary principle applies here given the scale of the problem. And actually having my bill in place will primarily prevent people and companies feeling the need to doctor images in the first place. And this is already evident with many social influencers and companies shunning tools and filters because they see the negative connotations being perpetuated across society, which brands are actively choosing to dissociate themselves from, that digital enhancement. Alas, many are still caught up in the arms race for the perfect selfie, which is why this bill has a place. In closing, I find myself in a very strange position. I actually don't ever want to see such a logo on an image. Ever. Why? I hope that we can foster a society that aims for body positivity without physiques that are literally impossible without digital manipulation. Yet failing that, and until then, the government must consider primary and precautionary measures to help curb the dramatic rise in poor mental well-being, the mass individual self-loathing we have across the UK, the serious mental health disorders like anorexia and bulimia that are becoming florid. And I believe my digitally altered body image bill is a small and fitting way to start this journey.